We begin now at the top of Daf Yud Tes Amud Aleph in Meseches Shabbos. This is Shabbos Daf 19a. The Gemara just brought a brisa in which Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel were arguing about whether a person can sell chametz before Pesach to a non-Jew. According to Beis Shammai, one can only sell this chametz if they know the nachri, the non-Jew, is going to finish the chametz before Pesach. According to Beis Hillel, as long as it's not Pesach, it's no problem at all. And now we come to a third opinion, Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. Rabbi Yehuda says, when it comes to kusach habavli is a dip. Rashi says kusach habavli nosnin bo chametz. They put chametz in it. Kedamrin and beilu over. And ve'eno osei lechol yachad el litvabo is made for dipping. Ve'eno kolad zman merub. It took a long time to finish. V'chol mine kusach. Any types of kusach aser limchor lamed yom kodem haPesach. It is aser to sell these things 30 days before Pesach. Rashi says shloshim yom mishamaschil and lidrosh beilchas haPesach chola azharas Pesach olav. From when we begin to darshan in the laws of Pesach, that's when the azhara Pesach falls upon this item. And the idea is, since it takes so long to finish this item, therefore we're strict about it, and we say that a person, according to Rabbi Yehuda, a person should only sell it to a non-Jew if it's more than 30 days before Pesach. The Gemara now continues at the two dots, discussing things that a person is or is not allowed to do on Shabbos itself in terms of causing someone else or some kind of malacha to happen indirectly. Taner Rabban, we learned in a brisa, nosnin mizonos lifnei hakelev b'chotzer. If a person, if he wants, can put food in front of his dog on Shabbos in the chotzer. Not learn if the dog takes it v'yotz and he goes out, ain't niskakin lo. He doesn't have to worry about it. It's not a problem that he did any malacha. Kayotze bo, similarly, nosnin mizonos lifnei hanachri b'chotzer. A person can put food in front of a non-Jew in the chotzer. Not lo v'yotz. If he takes it out, ain't niskakin lo. He doesn't have to worry about it. The Gemara says hasu lamali. Why do we need to say the case of the non-Jew? Isn't it the same principle as the case with the kelev? The Gemara says hainu hach. It's the same case. Gemara says, "Ma'u detema high ramiolev, a high low ramiolev kamashvalan." I might have thought that when it comes to the dog, we'd actually be more lenient because he has a responsibility to feed it, assuming it's his dog. So therefore, we would be lenient and allow this. Maybe by the non-Jew, where he's obviously not responsible to feed the non-Jew, maybe it would not be allowed on Shabbos. So the brisa says that is allowed on Shabbos as well. Gemara now continues at the two dots. Taner Rabbanan, we learned in a brisa, lo yaskir adam kelev lenachri be'erev Shabbos. A person shouldn't rent out his vessels to a non-Jew on Erev Shabbos. It's going to, again, the problem is it's going to be used on Shabbos. But if it's Wednesday, Thursday, it's okay. Kayotze bo, similarly, ein meshalchen igoros bi'ad nachri be'erev Shabbos. One cannot send letters to be delivered in the hands of a non-Jew on Erev Shabbos. B'dal l'uvehei mutter, on Wednesday, Thursday, it's okay. Amru olav al Rabbi Yossi HaKohen. They said about Rabbi Yossi HaKohen, va'amri lal Rabbi Yossi HaChassid. Some say it was about Rabbi Yossi HaChassid. Shalo nimtza ksav yado bi'ad nachri me'olam. One can never find a letter from him in the hands of a non-Jew ever. Rashi here explains, Shalo nimtza ksav yado shalo yolichenu b'Shabbos. He was very concerned that it would be carried around on Shabbos, and therefore he made sure never to give a letter to be delivered at all to a non-Jew. The Gemara now continues with a brisa. Taner Rabbanan, we learned in a brisa, ein meshalchin igeres bi'ad nachri erev Shabbos. A person can't send a letter with a non-Jew on Erev Shabbos, again, because he's going to be carrying it on Shabbos. Elim kain kotzitz lo dam, unless they agreed on a price beforehand. Rashi explains if they agree on a price beforehand, then it's already as if the nachri is working for himself. Now the brisa continues. The Gemara is going to explain this brisa, but the brisa continues. Beis Shammai omrim kadeshi yagia lebeso. Beis Shammai say it's okay to give it to the non-Jew if he's going to be able to reach his house before Shabbos. Beis Hillel say it's okay as long as he can reach the house, not the house that he's delivering it to, but a house that is near the wall of the city where he is going to. So the first house in the city where he essentially is delivering to. So now the Gemara asks this price again. Like we said, it's confusing because it said you're not allowed to send unless you set a price, and then it says Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel have some argument. So the Gemara asks, "V'halo katzatz." 1 second, didn't you set a price? And we said before, if you set a price, it's mutter. It's mutter to deliver in the hands of the non-Jew. So what are they having? Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel giving certain limitations. So Amar Rav Sheshes says you're right. Hachi Kamar, here's how you should read the brisa. Ve'im lo katzatz. If they did not agree on a price, if they did not set a price, that's where we have this machlokas Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai omrim ad sheyagia lebeso. Beis Shammai say that he can only do it if the guy is able to reach his house before Shabbos. Beis Hillel omrim ad sheyagia lebayis hasamach l'chom. And Beis Hillel say it's okay as long as you can reach the city, again, the wall of the city where the person is sent to. So now the Gemara asks one more question. V'amrit reisha ein meshalchin. Didn't the reisha of the brisa imply that if you do not set a price, it's completely forbidden to send the letter with a non-Jew? Here we're saying that if you did not set a price, there's a machlokas beis Shammai beis Hillel. There is some leniency as long as you can either arrive at the house or arrive at the bais hasamach l'choma. So the Gemara says again, lo kash not a kasha, had dekvia beidor b'masa, v'had lo kvia beidor b'masa. One case is when you have mail delivery in the city, essentially. The other case is where you do not have mail delivery in the city. Rashi explains the basic idea here is that if you have a specific place where the letter is dropped off and then from there it's delivered to the proper person, then it's not a problem. Then we could be lenient because he'll be able to arrive at that place and the mail will get delivered. But if you don't have a set way of delivering the mail when you get to the city, so the issue is that what if he gets to the city and he can't find the person? Now the non-Jew is going to be delivering on Shabbos itself. So that's where the Brisa said that it's a problem totally if you did not set a price beforehand. Gemara now continues at the two dots with a brisa. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in a brisa in mafligin besvina pachos migimel yom kodem l'Shabbos. You shouldn't set sail on a ship less than 3 days before Shabbos. B'med devar mamurim, when is this true? L'dvar harashus. If the trip is voluntary, avol l'dvar mitzvah shaber dami. But if the person is going for a mitzvah purpose, it is okay. Uposik imo al menas lishbos ve'eno shoves divrei Rebbe. Rebbe says that you should make an arrangement with the person who's manning the ship to rest on Shabbos, but if he doesn't rest on Shabbos, it's not any problem. Rav Shimon ben Gamliel says eino tzarich, that's not necessary. Umitzur letzidan, and if a person is traveling from tzur letzidan, that's just a 1-day trip. Afilu be'erev Shabbos mutter, even on erev Shabbos, it is mutter. Even on Friday, it's mutter. The Gemara now continues at the two dots. Taner Rabbanan, we learned in a brisa, ain't sarin ala yoros shel nachrim. Person can't set siege to the non-Jewish cities. Pachas migimel yom kodem l'Shabbos, less than 3 dadays before Shabbos. V'im hischilu ein mafsikin. If you began already, you do not stop as Shabbos is approaching. V'chein haya Shammai omer, and likewise Shammai says, ad ridita afilu b'Shabbos. It says you can siege the city until you take it down, and that applies even on Shabbos. Gemara now continues at the two dots. Amar Rav Shimon ben Gamliel, no hagin hayu v'chulu. So the idea of the Mishnah was that Rav Shimon ben Gamliel was saying that his family was actually strict like Beis Shammai, specifically in cases of giving clothing to a launderer. Tanya, we learned in a brisa. Amar Rabbi Tzadok said, Kach hayim in hagoshal Beis Rabban Gamliel. Here was the custom of the house of Rabban Gamliel. Shayu nosnin kli lavan lekoves gimel yamim kodem l'Shabbos. If it was a white clothing, they would give it to the launderer 3 days before Shabbos. It took longer to clean. They wanted it to get clean before Shabbos. Utzuim, and if it was colored clothing, afilu be'erev Shabbos, one could give it to the launderer even on Friday. Umidivrayim lamadnu shalavanim kashim lechabson yoser min atzivuin. And it says that the Brisa concludes that from here we learn that it's more difficult to wash white clothing than colored clothing. Gemara brings a story that's relevant to this. Abaye have a yoevle hahumana ditzvia lekitzra. Abaye once gave a colored piece of clothing to the launderer. Amar le said to him, Kama boisi lave, how much do you charge for this? Amar le kidechivri, says, I charge the same for this as I charge for white clothing. Amar le, Abaye said to him, Kvar kidmuch rabbanan, the rabbanan already beat you to it. They've already stated that it's more difficult to launder white clothing, and therefore the price should not be the same. And so Abaye realized that he was being overcharged. Amar Abaye says, Haiman diyav mana lekitzra b'mishcha nesivle uv'mishcha nishkal mine. If a person gives clothing to a launderer, he should measure it with a string when he gives it in, and he should measure it when he takes it out. The idea is that the launderer might damage the clothing. If the clothing is larger, he stretched it out, he damaged it. And if the clothing is smaller, it means he shrunk the clothing, so he can damage it. So you should always measure the clothing to make sure that there was no damage. That's just a piece of advice from Abaye when it comes to laundering one's clothing. We continue now at the two dots. The Mishnah said, V'shavin elu ve'elu shatonin v'chulu. So both Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel agree that if you have these beams and you're pressing down on olives or grapes and it's causing grape juice or it's causing olive oil to be made on Shabbos, as long as you started the process before Shabbos, it's not a problem. Even though Beis Shammai was strict in other cases, they were lenient over here. So the Gemara asks, Maishna kulu de gazru bu Beis Shammai, umaishna korus Beis Habad v'gulei hagas de lo gazru. What is the difference by all the other cases where Beis Shammai is strict, and when it comes to the beams in the Beis Habad and in the Gulei Devas, and in the Gulei Hagas, when it comes to the olives and the grapes, they say it's not a problem. So the Gemara answers, Hanach di avidlu b'Shabbos mechayiv chatas gazru Beis Shammai. In all the other cases where if you would actually do this malacha on Shabbos, you'd be chayav chatos, meaning it's an isur d'oraisa. So there, Beis Shammai make a decree erev Shabbos im chashecha that you can't do it even on Friday before dark. But koros beis habad v'igule hagas, when it comes to these cases of the grapes and the olives, diavid lu b'Shabbos lo mechayiv. If he did this on Shabbos, it would not be a chiyav chatos. He wouldn't be chayav midoraisa. Lo gazru, it's not a gezer. Now, why is it not a doraisa to press these things with beams on Shabbos itself? So Rashi already explained in the Mishnah that the idea is, and here Rashi says here, it's going ahead a little bit, but he explains it here also. These things are, they're letting out their juice in any case. Putting the beams on is just speeding up the process. Rashi explained earlier, these were crushed grapes and crushed olives. They were already allowing juice out. Therefore, it's not an Isser Doraisa to do this on Shabbos. Since it's not an Isser Doraisa, if you do it on Shabbos, then it's not a problem. If you do it before Shabbos at all, it's not even going to be an Isser D'Rabbanan. The Gemara now asks, Man Tana D'chol Midi D'Asi Memela Shaper Dami. Who is this Tana who says that any type of item which anyways the juice would flow out on its own, that it's not an Isser D'Oraisa? Who's the one that's lenient like this, that Beis Shammai is based upon, and therefore Beis Shammai allow in this case before Shabbos? Amar Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina, Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina says this is the opinion of Rabbi Yishmael. The Tanan we learned in a Mishnah, Hashum v'haboser v'hamalilos sheriskan mivod yom. All of these again are different fruits. You've crushed them up before Shabbos. So Rabbi Yishmael Omer Yigmar Mishatechshach. Rabbi Yishmael says not a problem to finish up after it gets dark. Rashi explains Yigmor me'achar sheriskan, since it's already been crushed up. V'tzavram b'choved. And you've piled them up, and it's heavy upon each other. Yanichem bekalim v'yotzum me'atzman. You can put them in kalim, and the juice can come out on its own. Mutter lechatchila. That is mutter lechatchila. Rabbi Akiva Omer, and Rabbi Akiva says, and we will see what Rabbi Akiva says on the next daf, on Daf Yud Tes Amud Beis in the next video.